ladies and gentlemen, the current MLW middleweight champion and the former NXT cruiserweight champion, the one, the only, Mr. Lio Rush. Lio, it's Alex, Lyle, and Josh here, man. How are you doing? Thanks for joining us. Your time in the morning, us in the afternoon. How are you, man?
What's going on, guys? Yeah, I'm feeling good. It's pretty early over here right now, but I'm pumped up for this interview, and I'm happy that you guys have me on here.
Oh, dude, well, listen, we're so excited to have you on. We have so many things we want to ask you because you're a guy that's been all over the business. What you've been able to do during this pandemic and being able to take advantage of all the promotions that you've worked for is incredible. But the first thing I want to ask, of course, is how are you and how is your family doing during this time? Clearly, they seem to be doing great because you have a new podcast out, which I got to hear, which is phenomenal. My wife heard it too yesterday, by the way. My wife said, wow, Lio sounds just like you. And his wife sounds just like me. We're not handymen, so you know what I mean? But how are you and your family during COVID-19? How are you guys holding up and everything?
We're doing good. It was pretty rocky at the start just because we didn't really know what was going to happen, what was going to go down. And then obviously we found out that when we were pregnant, we we're going to have a boy during all of this.
Congratulations.
So thank you.
Congrats.
Appreciate that. A little stressful like here and there, but for the most part, it's pretty good. I mean, I can't really complain. Everybody's safe and healthy and moving along pretty good. So I can't complain too much.
Awesome to hear that. You and I have talked tirelessly off the air. I feel like you and I are now friends now, you and I. So you know what I mean? So that's the best part about this whole thing is I want to ask you, because you and I talked off the air privately about your creativity. I'm wearing one of your shirts, and that is your Black Heart character. You were a Man of the Hour character. Energy to the Black Heart to the Dark character. You're going up and down. It's amazing to see the creativity that you have, and of course with your music and everything like that as well. You're doing so many side projects and working tirelessly in the business. Where do you get your creativity from? How do you think of all these ideas, especially because you have a family with COVID and you're working with all these promotions? How are you able to handle being this creative guy that you are?
I'm always thinking literally nonstop, and that's probably a part of my problem as well. But it just comes to me, and I'm always wanting to do something new and fresh and exciting. So I don't really know where it comes from, but I think just the determination and the will to keep pushing forward. And I don't know, I'm always thinking about my friends, my family members, people that I grew up with back at home, just wanting to change their situation and change, their way of living and get them out of where I got myself out of. I just want to help. I'm always wanting to help people. So I'm always trying to push myself to dish out new, fresh content, and hopefully something hits and I never have to do this again.
So, Lio, we've seen you in many extreme matchups, including against one of your buddies, Joey Janela. When warming up for extreme matchups, how do you prepare yourself and get your body ready for matches that involve a lot of risk-taking? Because you take a lot of bumps out there. There's a lot going on in and outside around the ring. I want to get your thoughts on that.
He brings a Black Heart character out. That's what he does. Black Heart character out.
Yeah, exactly.
At that point.
Exactly. I think it's no different than any kind of muscle conditioning. Obviously, it's probably going to be a little better for guys that are used to doing matches like that. Like you look at like these deathmatch wrestler guys and you're looking at it like, how do these guys just keep putting themselves through this? Like, how can they continue to take a light tube? How can they continue to go through barbed wire, go through tables, blah, 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 blah. I just think over time, the body just kind of get used to it and they kind of get like a body callus, like over time.
Oh, man. I think about the barbed wire thing.
but for somebody like me that's not really used to doing matches like that constantly, I think I just have to come to the realization that I'm going to walk out of that match with like some bumps and bruises and some cuts or whatever the case may be. There's no real way to get ready for that kind of impact on your body, especially with this last match that I did with Blake Christian.
Yes.
It was freezing in that building. There was no possible way I could have warmed up. I'm just like standing there and talking to Blake. It's like, there's no way that we can get more warm than we are right now unless we like stand in front of a heater for 30 minutes. But
so they should have done an Inferno match for you then. That's what they should have done, maybe.
I mean, when we had the fire, we did the fire spot in the match.
Yes.
I was like, oh man, this feels pretty good actually.
That's funny.
What was your reaction to going up to the main roster to be a manager instead of a wrestler?
I was just in the zone at that time. I didn't know that I was going to be a manager when I got the call. It just said that they needed me at Raw. But then when I got there and I found out what I was going to be doing and that it was going to be a constant thing, I didn't really think about it too much. I just thought about it being an opportunity for me to be on Raw. And I was paired up with Bobby Lashley, and Bobby was like one of my favorites, like growing up. So I was kind of like, I'm not going to be mad at this, opportunity. I thought it was pretty cool. And if I decided, because it wasn't my decision, but if the opportunity came for me to start wrestling on the roster, then that would be great too. But I was just trying to focus in on being a manager. And I think I was a little scared just because I wasn't really known as like a promo guy. So this was like a kind of like a new area for me to kind of shine. And I had to learn quick. There wasn't, hey, Lio, we want you to be Bobby's manager. Can you go back home and practice how to be a manager for 2 weeks and then come here and you'll be ready? It's like, no, I had to learn right then and there. Every week I had to be on my A game. So it pushed me and I liked it.
I just say one thing about that. I got to tell you, and obviously the point of you to be Bobby's manager was supposed to be kind of a heelish manager, that mouthpiece that was supposed to annoy the crap out of people. It worked.
You did a great job. You were very good at the manager.
I had the Lashley in my head still. When I see you now, it's still there. But I gotta ask you this now. Look, you're still so relatively young in this business, and you brought up Bobby Lashley being one of the guys you grew up watching. What got you wanting to do professional wrestling, and who was a male or female, or who was it that you looked up to when you watched professional wrestling? Because we all have guys here. I know my guy watching it was Sting. Lyle, I know yours was, I believe, Shawn Michaels.
Mine was actually a faction. It was the Shield.
That certain person. Who was your person, Leo? What got you into wanting to do wrestling, number one, and number two, who was somebody you grew up watching and wanted to be like?
When I first started watching wrestling, it was around the ruthless aggression era. It was a pretty exciting time, and a lot of cool heavy hitters were on the roster, especially like SmackDown. But I think my go-to people that I would always say, just because of how they kind of like made me feel, just like simply watching the TV, the people who made me want to be a wrestler was Jeff Hardy, Rey Mysterio, and Eddie Guerrero. Those are my three.
That's awesome.
So when working in NXT as the Cruiserweight Champion, was there any advice that you got from Triple H that was shared with you in the course of your time there? Because I know when you're in the back locker room, there's not as much time to talk, but when you do have an opportunity, what's one thing that Triple H shared with you that's kind of stuck with you?
Unfortunately, all the time that I did get with Triple H, I felt like it was us always kind of disagreeing on something. I wish that I got that advice from him, and I'm pretty sure that I did, but I think it was very generic, like go out there and kill it, or that was really good, or something like that. But any long conversation that I had with Hunter was always about where we saw me as my placement in the company. Like if I was considered just like a cruiserweight guy, or if eventually I was going to start working some programs with guys outside of the cruiserweight division. If he just saw me as that was majority of the conversation. And just kind of like the biggest thing that always sticks to me every time somebody brings up Triple H now, which sucks, is the fact that he called me. He said this on 2 different occasions to my face, but he said that you're not a star, or at least you're not as big of a star as you think you are. You're not there yet. Yeah, that kind of just sticks with me.
I tend to disagree with that, but yeah.
I disagree with that.
I'm sorry. We're not here to kiss your ass. We're here to be honest. I think we all can beat that crap, actually. Because clearly he didn't see the big picture that you did. The Black Heart character itself shows that they missed the boat on something. They should have let you be more creative. They should have let you be more 100%. In your creative background. You and I have talked off the air, Leo, about this. You're watching your Black Heart character and you have the theme song. Dude, do you know how many times I listened to that song over and over and over again in my car? And I'm just like, dude, this song is so good. And I go to myself and I'm watching these promos and the videos that you're doing with your wife and your kids and stuff too. I'm like, how does WWE miss the boat with this guy on a Black Heart character who's like this? He goes from high up to being very dark and numb and can handle something. I don't want to speak on your behalf, but I just don't understand it. And that's something that I think we all have said on this program about WWE is that they missed the boat on so many creative ideas that when that person leaves, it really slaps them in the face and go, damn, we really missed it on that. But I just wanted to share that with you as well as my opinion on your character.
After you got released, did Tony Khan or AEW ever reach out?
He did reach out to me, But at the time, I was out in Iceland filming for the challenge. That was kind of a spot to come in and to play. But I was out filming, I was doing my own thing. And since that, there hasn't been another, I guess, opportunity for me to kind of come in the right way. Yes, I have had that conversation in the past, but it hasn't come back up since.
So that leads me into the next question that I have. So you're currently working with MLW, and that's awesome. They are great they have so many buildings, especially like Alexander Hammerstone, yourself. That is another company that's really getting it. And I believe the Von Erichs are there as well. My question to you is this. I've seen you back and forth with a certain superstar in the Bullet Club, and that is ELP. Now, we have a guy on here that loves ELP. I'll give you a hint who he is. He's wearing a Bullet Club shirt right now. And I actually have said, screw it, if it's Lio versus ELP, I think Lio kicks his ass. That's my opinion on it. That doesn't matter. I think ELP's a punk that needs to be shut up at times. I have to ask you this. Working with MLW, because you've worked with so many brands, which brand, you worked at ROH, MLW, New Japan, GCW, and everything, which brand have you felt comfortable working with the most, one? And two, when COVID is over, is New Japan in the works for you to go there? We were on this show. We thought of the endless opportunities that you could have. As great as MLW is, the New Japan Junior Division, the endless matches with ELP, Hiromu, Taiji Ishimori. I see you smiling because you think, holy crap, this could work. Is New Japan in the works for you in the future? Have they reached out to you, and would you go there?
As far as being my most comfortable, I think I would have to say right now GCW, just because that's a little closer to home. And before I went to WWE, I was involved in CZW a lot, and it kind of gives me that same feeling. So I would say GCW, my most comfortable. But my time in New Japan so far, with being in the Super J Cup, being able to work Bullet Club and my New Japan Strong debut was really cool. Definitely something that I've been looking forward to for so long now. Just being in New Japan itself is definitely a dream of mine and a goal that I feel like I'm putting in the forefront of everything else. I definitely feel like New Japan is somewhere where I want to go and where I want to stay, just because, like I said, it's been a goal of mine before I even signed to WWE. I agree with you, like those matches in the junior heavyweight division, I think will really solidify my cruiserweight or junior heavyweight career, just kind of in that class of one of the top cruiserweight guys in the world, since I have been able to wrestle so many different places and wrestle like some of the best junior heavyweights and cruiserweight guys in the world. I definitely feel like if I touch down in New Japan and actually be in Japan, then there's no question when it comes to who's the best cruiserweight or junior heavyweight in the world. I definitely think if I go to New Japan, my name will be in that conversation.
I think it already is in that conversation. Once you step foot in New Japan, and of course you have to obviously talk with your wife and everything like that, of course, you want them to be comfortable too, like you said, because you're maybe on the way and going to Japan, that's a whole different ball game going there. But you see somebody like Will Ospreay, who has grown into a heavyweight, which, by the way, if we could get you versus Will Ospreay, make that match happen. I'm throwing ideas at New Japan.
I actually had a singles match against Will Ospreay.
Oh, you did? Okay.
Yeah, I had a singles match against Will Ospreay in 2017. This was in Cambridge, England, for Southside Wrestling, which a lot of people, they don't know that match happened and they haven't seen it, but there is footage of that match.
I gotta see it now.
It was incredible. It was incredible. It was right before I got signed to WWE, so it was pretty good.
Just letting you know, when you sign with New Japan, I just want to have some royalties and become your manager when you go to New Japan. If that could happen, I'll take my wife with me. We'll go to Japan. We'll get settled. She'll have to learn how to eat fish. She doesn't eat seafood, so it is what it is. Everything like that. So I'm just saying.
So on February 19th, you will be facing El Phantasmo on an episode of New Japan Strong. Is there anything that catches your eye when facing someone like ELP, who's very quick to use his feet? And do you have anything to say to ELP looking ahead towards this matchup?
I think ELP has slithered his way into every single last thing that he's accomplished. And it bothers me. He's like the...
Say it, man. What is he? You know it.
He's the scum of the Bullet Club. He's the scum of the Bullet Club. Yeah, I'm looking forward to getting that rematch. And I'm looking forward to picking up the W and showing people, because how great would it be? I mean, I've already done it with the last match that we had with the 6-man match,
Yes,
but
you did.
I beat the Super J Cup winner. So now
Mhm.
you have to put in the question, if he didn't cheat to beat me in that first round in the Super J Cup, would I have been the one to go in the Wrestle Kingdom and face Hiromu?
Oh my God!
You know,
Can you imagine?
Yeah.
Oof.
That would've
They
been
need
great.
they need to keep checking his shoe, man. I think he has I think he has
Yeah.
something in that shoe. I'm telling you, I think he has something inside that shoe there.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Before the COVID happened, Will Ospreay had a match booked with GCW. So I know you said you still wanted to do GCW, so he never had an opponent booked. So
Yeah.
if he still has that booking, you could do it, and that we could see it in the United States.
We'll see.
Well, Leo, we're throwing a bunch of ideas at you, man.
I actually thought about this the other day. What if New Japan and all these other promotions like AEW, MLW, they do a cross-promotion championship?
It's not far-fetched to think that way anymore. I mean, you're seeing what AEW is doing with New Japan right now.
Yep.
You're seeing what they're doing with Impact. I feel like nothing is impossible in wrestling right now.
The forbidden door is open.
Yeah,
Yes,
so
it is.
you never know.
So I want to ask you now, Gallows and Anderson, after they got released just before they signed with Impact, they shared their entire experience from that day that they found out. Now I want to know, from your point of view, what happened that day for you when you found out about you were getting released.
Yeah, it was super weird on Twitter that day. Everybody was talking about some weird stuff, and I was trying to figure out why everybody was reacting the way that they were. I saw that there were some headlines that, WWE was going to be doing like a mass release today. It sounded crazy. It's like, why would they do that? Nobody else is releasing their talent during COVID. So I thought it was kind of strange, but I kept seeing people talk about it, and it was starting to make bigger headline news sites like this is like a real thing. So I remember tweeting out like, hey, no matter what happens today, just know like we're all like one big community, like wrestling family or whatever, and that we're all going to be like good at the end of the day because we have like each other's backs. And I just got a weird feeling in my gut, and I ended up calling Mark Carano, and I told him that I was seeing all this stuff online, and I heard that WWE was going to be doing like a big mass release today, and I just wanted to know if I was going to be one of those people. And he said, hey, Leo, I was just about to call you, but unfortunately, that is the case, and we are going to be releasing you. You're going to be a part of that group that's being released. And I didn't ask why. I didn't ask any questions. I just said, thanks for the opportunity, I guess.
That's not an awkward conversation.
Yeah, I said, thanks for the opportunity, I guess. Yeah, it just kind of ended like that. And then like 30 minutes later, I'm seeing my name on the website with the first group of people who was released. It's so strange. Such a strange day that was.
Bright side is this: God always has a plan. And clearly, you have shined even brighter than you did before. And you were already really great as it is. Now you're even better. And you're getting to work with all these brands. You're doing so much right now. It makes me feel so lazy. Okay? It's disturbing. I'm going to self-promote you too, by the way. If you want one of these cool t-shirts that I have with Leo and everything like that, go to Pro Wrestling Tees. Go to his store. Check it out. He has so much. Really quick, before we let you go, talk about your podcast with you and your wife, Sarah, and everything like that. Tell us how that got started. And there might be an interesting proposition I might want to talk with you off the air about in regards to this network, because I talked to my producer last night, and he said he wants me to reach out to you about possibly having your show on our network, if that works for you. He wants to get in touch with you because he heard it, and he thought it was phenomenal. He says, we got to get this guy on the network. How did you and your wife get started doing this podcast, and what made you say this is the time to do it?
This has been a pretty cool time. There's so many negatives that came out of COVID and the whole pandemic, but I feel like there's been a lot of positive things too, like self-reflection and seeing where we are like in our marriage. Like obviously we've been able to spend so much time together that we haven't been able to before. Like when I was in WWE, pretty cool to be able to kind of hang out with her every day and just talk about life and talk about, all this other stuff. And we thought it would be cool to kind of have our own podcast and just talk about us, talk about things that we've gone through and how we met and all the crazy stories, because obviously this is my wife. This is somebody who has been through everything that I've been through. But it's cool to now hear it from her perspective and not mine. Being able to, how was her reaction when I got released from WWE? Sure. What was she seeing from me that a lot of people at home weren't seeing? So I think it's a cool dynamic and a cool thing. The whole podcast has to do with, it's pretty much a fan interactive podcast where fans ask the questions and we simply give them the answers. So it's essentially the fans' podcast. They are creating the content. They are the ones who are creating the show for each week. So I think it's a pretty cool thing. They can ask me questions as individually, her questions individually, or questions together. So it's pretty cool, and I'm excited that we started this up, and we plan on, staying consistent with it and putting out episodes every week. Yeah, it's pretty cool. It's on Spotify, Apple, iHeartRadio, all of where podcasts can be streamed now.
We definitely want to talk about also adding you to our network as well. We just started getting I believe over 6,000 followers now on our network. So we want to add you. If you're interested, I'd love to talk to you off the air about it and have my guy Errol Marks reach out to you. He's a good dude. It's just another platform to you to expose that podcast. And I think it's just an endless amount. Lio, we're going to let you go, dude. We know how busy you are. We want to thank you for joining us today.
Thank
and I know how early
Thank
it is.
you very much. We all really appreciate it.
Let the fans know how they can reach you and talk about your pro wrestling tee store and also your social networking stuff as well.
Yeah, for sure. If you guys want to follow me on social media, you can follow me on Twitter and Instagram at the Lionel Green. I know I'm pretty active on my Instagrams where I'm giving a lot of updates on things that I have coming up as projects, merchandise, and upcoming events and stuff like that. So my Instagram is kind of like the go-to if you want to, find updates on what I'm doing currently and in the future. You can also go to my website, musicbyleo.com, where you can find my music, everything that I'm doing in the music world. All of my merchandise is on there. If you want to be a part of the podcast, if you want to ask questions, if you want to be a sponsor, email me at oig.questions@gmail.com. Obviously, that OIG stands for Orange You Glad. The podcast name is Orange You Glad You Asked the Question, the podcast. But yeah, we got a lot of cool things going on, and hopefully everybody listening or people who are going to listen in the future after this live feed, stay tuned, and I'll try to keep you guys updated as much as possible. There's a lot going on.
Well, let me tell you, starting March 2nd, we're actually going to be moving our show to prime time on Tuesday nights at 8 p.m. The next time we have you on, it's not going to be as early in the morning for you as it is today.
Gotcha.
But listen, man, I feel you, dude. When you got to get up early in the morning for something, like my wife's telling me you got to get up and start cleaning the house and stuff. I'm like, come on now. Like, what's going on here? You know what I mean? We got to get my wife and we got to get Sarah to start talking about, how to fix handy things and everything like that. Because you and I, no bueno on that one, dude. I stay as far away from that stuff, dude. Lio Rush.
I can vouch he's right.
Yeah. Lio Rush, man.
I had to help his wife put together a cabinet once when they moved into their house.
It's true. It's true, dude. Me and IKEA, we're not best friends. Okay? All right, but that's the facts. Lio, we really want to thank you for coming on with us this morning, dude. And we wish you nothing but the best. And don't be a stranger on our show. We want to get you on again for sure. Dude, you're only growing and you're getting better each and every single week. And your ceiling is limitless up there, dude. It really is. And like I said, WWE really missed the boat on a really talented guy, and you're showing them why. We appreciate you, of course, and we're always going to be fans of you. Don't be a stranger on the show. We want you to come back on here again in the future.
Definitely. I appreciate you guys.
All right. Lio, thanks a lot, man. Appreciate it, okay? Have a good rest of your day and have a great weekend. Oh, by the way, before you go, who's winning the Super Bowl?
I don't know. I have no idea.
Throw you a curveball there. If you had to pick Tampa, Kansas City, Mahomes, Brady, who and why?
Maybe Brady. I mean, I just feel like he does this kind of stuff every year.
Pretty much.
Isn't it a pain in the ass? The guy still sucks and he still gets to the Super Bowl. Ridiculous.
Yeah.
Peyton Manning did last year.
It's ridiculous. It shouldn't be happening. It shows how crappy the NFL is now, man. Thanks, Lio. Take care, man. Have a good rest of your day.
Appreciate you
all right,
guys.
man?
Yes, sir.